for taking the time to join us.
Oh, our pleasure.
Hi.
So we have 4 releases this week. Alexandra Harvey couldn't be with us. Her Countess Caper, which is book 2 in the Dainty Devil series, releases this week. So I'll pop the link in the comments so you can get it if you haven't got it already. And that one is the Society Isn't Ready for This Marriage of Convenience. Is the setup for that one looks like so much fun. So and the whole Dainty Devil series, the idea of a debutante turned highwayman. Seems like great fun. So make sure you grab that one. And then at the end of the week, we also have the Halloween anthology releases. So I'll make sure to pop that one in the comments too. And you absolutely want to get the Dragonblade anthologies because it's like a bajillion stories for less than $1. You know, I mean, it's just a bajillion stories for a very, very low price. And they're all stories by the authors that you already love. So let's start this week by talking about Sandra's book, and your book is The Lyons Redemption. Can you tell us a little bit about that one? It's the Lyons Den book.
It's my second, it's my third attempt of writing in the Lyons Den Connected World. I had a book come out in January, and then I had a book in one of the anthologies. So the hero in this one, and forgive me, I can't even remember his name. It's been a hot minute since I wrote this book. He's the best friend of the guy in the January release.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was he fell in love with a maid in his dad's house, and they got busy, and she was pregnant, and they were going to get married on the sly, and then dad said no, that is not going to happen, and the girl died in childbirth because that happened quite regularly back then. So he's down in the dumps about it. He's broken up about it, and so he ends up at the Lyons Den, not caring about much of anything. So events happen, and he has to marry a woman who just happens to be the best friend of the maid that died, and she's pissed at him because she thinks that he killed her. And so she's going to get retribution for that. So she wears a dagger on her thigh all the time, but it's not quite a dagger. It's a pair of sewing scissors that look like a dagger. So she tries to kill him a couple of times, before the romance starts, And then she's got this little frou-frou dog, this little Pomeranian dog that she's named after him just because she knows that he'll get his goat, So his name is Sir Kippington, And he's this frou-frou little dog, that runs around with his little tongue out all the time. And he's not a very manly dog, the whole thing. And so eventually they get together, but it's a whole thing.
So enemies to lovers for sure.
Definitely enemies to lovers, yeah.
And like a marriage of convenience, forced proximity.
Marriage of convenience, yeah, because they have to get married because her brother lost her hand, at the gaming tables, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, it was a real fun one to write. And I mean, there's other secrets that are involved in this book, and I don't want to give too much away because, these things are, what compound the plot as we go along. But it was a really fun one to write. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. That sounds like so much fun. And I love the ones where they are forced together and then they have to find the love after the marriage already happens.
Oh yeah. Plus the cover is really cool. Obviously I'm on my phone, so I can't show it to you. So that was a part of my performance today. I was going to show you the cover on my phone.
No, every time I see the cover when it came across my desk, it's like he knows some stuff. He knows some stuff.
Yeah, good times.
Well, it sounds like a blast, and I love that we get Lyons Den books so regularly, so you can kind of stay in the world,
Yeah, I mean it's really fun. I mean, I really enjoy writing in it because it's a challenge. It's something that I don't do, for my everyday job. That kind of thing. So, I mean, I like it that there's set parameters. You have these rules that you have to play by, and this and that. And then I always add Mrs. Dove Lyon to all my stories so that the reader can, kind of see her, but I keep her mysterious, but I like to have her in there, that kind of thing. It's fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Amy has a first book in a new series for Dragonblade, and it's A Spell for a Duke. It's the Spell Maidens of Coven Square, House of Animus, Book 1. And I am crazy excited
That's a
about this one because it's exactly the right time of year for it to come out, and it's got a cat and a top hat on the cover. And
Aw.
Yes, his name's George.
tell us about the book and about the series.
Okay, well, so basically I was playing on the idea of shield maidens, but for
Oh, that's
witches.
fun.
So that's how I came up with spell maidens, and they are basically the last line of defense, kind of protecting the human world from the magical world, because it's kind of like a Harry Potter thing where humans don't know about magic. And Coven Square is in the middle of Mayfair, and it's Victorian London. So only people that have magic can get to Coven Square. And on Coven Square, there are 12 witch houses based on where the witches draw their power. So House Animus are people who get their magic off from animals. And there'll be 3 books for House Animus. And then I'll be going around each of the 12 houses with a trilogy for each. So in this story, the hero is...
Emily's face. All the good things. She just offered us all the good things.
Yeah, so there'll be a million books in my series, but in this book,
that's a 36-book series. Sign me up! Oh my god, I love it.
So the hero is a shifter, a lichen, wolf shifter, and this is definitely enemies to lovers. Because she arrests him because he's been framed for murder and she arrests him. But then when her next assignment comes out, she needs his help. So she breaks him back out of jail to help her.
So is she like a law enforcement officer for her world then?
Well, so there are, like, Scotland Yard has a Division X, and the Metropolitan Police have some stuff, but the spell maidens are kind of like when shit gets I can't say that. Can I say that?
The one time I didn't do the warning.
Sorry. Stuff gets stuff. I said stuff. It's really
That's what
weird.
I had stuff.
When it gets serious, that's when the spell maidens are called.
That's cool.
Come in. So it's like when there's going to be a potential extinction event.
Ooh.
So anyway, so needless to say, they are enemies to lovers. And the cat with the top hat is George. He is addicted to cat whiskey, and he causes her all sorts of trouble. In this world, the cats claim the witches as familiars instead of the other way around.
Oh,
and so he is not.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that's pretty much how it works with cats anyhow.
I mean, yeah, for real. I'm George once, so he kind of is who I based him off of. But, yeah, he's addicted to catnip whiskey. They talk, of course.
Catnip whiskey.
Yeah. He's a hoot. He's problematic for her because she's a rule follower, and he is all, it was a lark. And then we have a villain that's named von Rappelstein. And I thought that was such a good villain name. It was a friend of mine, and that's their family name.
Oh my goodness.
Before they moved to America, they shortened it to Rappold. But before that, it was von Rappelstein. I said, "Can I borrow your name? That's a great villain name." And they're like, "Yes." He's ridiculous. That guy is ridiculous. He's almost a show stealer.
Well, yeah.
Does the art stop with this book, or how are the 3 books tied together other than just the house?
So yeah, so the 3 books that are tied together is you have the 3 witches in that one house are all kind of progressing through who's really causing trouble, what's really going on. So like in the second book, the demon that she hunts in the first book gets back out, and they have to hunt that again, but it's kind of a red herring for what's really going on behind the scenes. So the whole kind of what's going on behind the scenes gets resolved in the 3rd book. And so each of the trilogies are set up like that, where the witches will have their own love stories in each book, is a different witch as the main character. But usually the 3 are tied together like that with an overarching, if you will.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. I love reading spooky things around this time of year, and I love reading spooky things that are a little bit playful and not too terribly scary. So
yeah, this isn't scary. It's very playful. It's funny.
The cover is like giving off real Alice in Wonderland vibes with with the
So one of my friends said it was like Ninja Mary Poppins.
See, that's like totally something to use in ad copy. Ninja Mary Poppins.
Right.
With
Because
a
there's all
cat
these talking
drinking
squirrels
cat.
at the beginning, and they're funny, and she likes to use her daggers and things like that more than she likes to use magic, but she uses magic too. And anyway, it's fun. I could have kept going.
You
It's
could totally
100,000
use
words.
Ninja Mary Poppins and whiskey, or what did you say, catnip whiskey on the side.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
I could have kept going. I could have kept writing. I stopped at 105,000 words.
Dang.
I could have kept going. Just going on in this world.
Yeah. Those are the best books when it feels like they write themselves. You know, when you just have to get out of their way. It's the best feeling. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm so excited about that one. So, and that's that'll be out by the time this airs. That will be available for everybody. And then the other book that we have releasing this week is Emily's book. It's The Duke's in Danger. It's book 7. It's Where There's a Duke, There's a Way.
Where there's a Duke, there's a way. Oh, I can't tell you how much fun I had with these titles, honestly.
Yeah, I love the title of
So
this
much
series.
fun. So, if you have read the Dukes in Danger series up to this point, you'll know that in every story there's a Duke who ends up putting himself in danger most of the time because he's bored. You know, he's titled, he has money, he has nothing to really do with his life. There's no real challenge. And they're all, you know, pretty intelligent, brave men. And so they end up looking for danger.
Privileged ne'er-do-wells.
I mean, good thing we don't have anything like that in today's modern world. But in this book, we have a slightly different gentleman at the centre, Arthur Hebblethwaite, which is actually a really hard word to say that I didn't have to think about until I started reading through the manuscript. I do like an audio read through to catch any kind of. I was like, oh, this name, but it looks so good on paper that I had to keep it. Arthur Hebblethwaite is in a bit of a pinch because he's not actually a duke, but he's decided to go to France and live off the scraping and bowing of those who are desperate to impress someone of his rank. And it goes really well for a little while until he is recognised by a servant there, and he accidentally takes a hostage to escape a French encampment. It happens to the best of us, guys. It happens to the best of us. And it's, you know, he manages to escape, which is all great, until he realizes that the hostage he's taken is a woman. So awkward.
Awkward.
The trouble is that Joanna, bless her, he has a few secrets of her own. She's terrified, as you would be, after being snatched by a complete stranger, and so very swiftly tells him that she is married, thank you very much, and she's on her way to see her husband. So they decide to travel a little bit together because Arthur's very concerned that he might be spotted again, which is, again, all well and good until the Duke of Fitzpaine and the penniless Mrs. Epwin arrive at the coast, and there's only one cabin.
No.
And people who have read my books for a while,
Whatever shall they do?
People who know me know I can't stay away from only one bed. I just can't do it. I sometimes have to force myself not to write it, but for this story, it was just tough. I could not step away from it. So now they have a little bit of a fake marriage situation. They are both completely lying to each other about who they are, as well as to everyone else about who they are. And it's all going to get rather complicated when people start catching feelings.
Oh, because it's not already complicated, you know.
No, I just sprinkle a little bit more complication in there. Season it with a bit more lies, and then it's ready.
Oh my gosh.
I had so much fun writing this book because they both think they're really clever. And they both realize the other person's lying to them, but they can't work out what it is. And so every conversation is so layered with like, oh, but when you say this, do you mean that? And when I say this, do I mean this? And if I say I don't like you, do I still not like you? And wait a minute, do I like you? I can't like you. This is a disaster. And it's just so fun. And there's a few secondary characters from the earlier part of the series you might recognize. And there are a few things that we're setting up for the second half of the series that if you don't catch them, it's totally fine. But it means on a reread, you'll get that extra kind of joy of, I see what she's doing there. So yeah, this is a book you can dive straight into. You don't have to have read the first 6 books of the series. You can just go straight in and discover what happens when a duke has to go around, bless him, trying not to take hostages. It's very awkward.
That's a long time to manage to not take a hostage yet. So
I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
I mean, it's a character flaw for all of us. I mean, hello.
Who hasn't been wined and dined by the French, been recognized as an imposter, grabbed the nearest person?
I mean, that's a good, solution to problems, right?
I mean, it's something I know we all struggle with. I just thought, why not put it in the book and allow all of us to see how it should be done? Or
instead of talking about stuff, let's just take hostages.
I really, really like, there's a lot of types of dukes in this series because there's 12 books total. And it's not the same cookie cutter duke all the way through. That would get very dull. I have some excellent himbos who've already been featured. Book 2 in particular has a great himbo. I have a few dukes coming up who
have to define himbo for our audience.
A himbo is like a bimbo, but it's a man. He's incredibly good looking, and he thinks he's got a lot going on between the ears, but bless him, he does not. He is not the smartest cookie in the cookie jar. They're usually really sweet and really well-meaning, and it's so pretty, so pretty. But yeah, so in book 2, I have Henry who is convinced that someone is spreading lies about his sister and her raucous behavior, and tracks down. He's absolutely determined. He's tracked down the source of these rumors, which is to a blacksmithy in a small village where the smith is a woman. And so he demands to be taught smithing undercover, and she very quickly is like, "You're not a smith. You have no idea. You are clearly a nobleman. You have no idea what you're doing. Why are you here? You absolute idiot!" And he's just walking around with a hammer, being like, "See, hammer, me do good." So he was great to write. But Arthur in this book is slightly different because he doesn't have an aristocratic background. He doesn't come from money. And Joanna does, but she thinks that he does as well. So there's all these interactions where he's kind of met his match because he's never had to impress someone as worldly and as clever and as refined as her. He's been running around France where they're like, well, English gentlemen might eat with a wrong fork, maybe they just do it differently. Whereas she very much knows when he's doing something that is very much not what a duke would do. And he kind of meets his match in her because she's not willing to be impressed, and everyone else is very, kowtowing to him. And, "Oh, yeah, my lord, my grace, come over here." And she's just like, "Yeah, you can put that knife away and take me to England right now."
Well, fun. And you said that there are 12 books in the series, so we still have another 5 to look forward to.
Yes, book 8 is on pre-order. So grab that if you want to. But yeah, 6 books out, 7th book out this week, 8th book on pre-order, 9, 10, 11, and 12 to come. Get ready for that.
Okay. Oh, well, it sounds like so much fun. So I'm excited about all this week's releases. It's really easy to get. It's really easy to get excited this week, and it's excited when it's fun when authors are excited about writing their books too. Like when you can tell that you guys had fun doing it. I think as a reader, I think that's it extra compelling. I know we've talked about everything before, but I know we've talked about writing before. But Amy, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. I'm wondering. You said you could keep going after your 105,000 words. Right? Euros there, 105,000 words. Do you plot your books ahead of time? Do you know where the whole series is going, or do you pants?
I have a general idea. I am definitely more of a pantster, but I've taken to writing blurbs first and then writing the story after, and that works for me. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I want to be a plotter. I try really, really hard, and then I step over myself and overthink it some more and feel like I don't know how to write a word.
I think writing blurbs first is huge because it makes sure that you have the conflict set, and if you sit down to write a blurb and there's not enough meat in the story, it's really easy to find out ahead of time that there's not enough meat there, that you need to up the conflict, that you need to turn the volume up on something. So
yeah. And it gives me something to kind of keep it reined in. Like I've already got this blurb set up, and I'm wandering off a field. I need to rein it back in. So
do you write every day?
I'm supposed to.
Well, I'm supposed to not eat cookies too, but
that's the goal.
Oh my gosh.
But life gets in the way.
I know that feeling. Emily, I know you are a plotter extraordinaire. You are a plotter. You're a plotter whose plots have plotters.
My plots have bells on, but that's the way my brain works. So that's the thing. So I actually teach plotting for authors separate to the wonderful Dragonblade, and I'm always very clear that if it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean you're a bad author. I think that one of the challenges the author community has is it went through this phase about 3 years ago when people were saying like, well, if you're not plotting, then your books aren't going to be good. And I was sitting there going, no, it's one of the best books I've read. The authors are like,
yeah, well, we also get that on the opposite side too. Oh, well, if you're a plotter, there's no spontaneity in your books,
Yeah, there's always a criticism. And so I think, one of the things I always say when I'm teaching is, look, I'm going to take you through like 10 different ways you can plot, and all of them might work for you, or none of them, or one. And actually, as long as you have a go and you learn more about yourself and about your craft and your natural way of doing things and the way your brain works and the best way to get the best words out of you, then great. If you take the course and at the end of the day go, yeah, plotting's not for me, great. You learn something about yourself. Like you know now what is going to work for you. What I don't advise, especially kind of newer authors, is you try one thing and then you stick to it forever because it's the first thing you tried. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's always the best way to do things.
I keep trying to learn to plot because I think it will help me write faster.
Yeah.
Because that's when
that's why I do it. I have too much of a heavy writing schedule. I can't not just, check it out there and say, maybe that'll work. No, it doesn't.
And when I get stuck, time in between, right?
Do I what?
You take time in between because I see you finish.
I do. I try to take like a week off after I finish a book and before I start outlining the next book. It's just, I don't know. I put myself into this position where I'm kind of stuck. I've got a heavy writing schedule for Dragonblade and a heavy writing schedule for my indie books, and so now I feel like, okay, well, if I get a little bit off schedule, everything is going to come crashing down on me.
Yeah, that's where you need to buffer. That's
kind of stressful. But it is what it is. Once you discover what kind of a writer you are and how you work and how your outlines work, and because some authors will do outlines, but they're not very detailed. I do a detailed outline for all of my books. I like outline the first half of my books, and then we go from there because I don't know past the halfway point what's going to happen in my books. Sometimes it happens way different than I've already laid down, and then I have to recalibrate at the halfway point. That kind of thing. And some books will just be like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna do this ourselves, so we don't really need the author here. We just need you to press on the keys, a little bit, which is what's happening in the book that I'm doing now. And I'm like, okay, plus the return key doesn't work on my keyboard right now, so I've had to get a different keyboard. So I don't know if that's what's problem with the laptop. It's just gonna fail. I don't know. So anyway, my point is that authors do things differently, and the more work you have ahead of you and the more you want to accomplish in your author career, I guess, that's going to necessitate how you build your system, are you an all-day writer? Are you a half-a-day writer? Do you write in the evening? Do you write at night? How are you putting in your time, and how is that going to be best usage for you?
And it's so interesting. The goal is not to write all day every day and be a full-time author. Not for everyone. Like, I know authors who absolutely love what they do and they write amazing books and they love their day jobs, and they're like, I'd never leave my day job. I love the fact that my writing is my passion and it's a craft, but like, I don't want to do it all. I don't want it to be a job. And so I
Well,
think
right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you have to find out who you are as a writer. Is it going to take you 7 hours to write a 3,000 word chapter, or is it going to take you 2 hours so that you can do whatever else you want to do with that day or whatever? Or if you're going to write 2 chapters a day, you can skip the next day and go do something else, that kind of thing.
Amy, has your craft changed over the years with each book, do you reckon?
Yes. Because I've learned, and I'm constantly trying to grow and take courses, and I figure one day I'll learn how to write.
I think you're doing all right. Having read your books, I think you're doing okay.
Do you get your characters first, or do you get the story first?
The characters. For me, it's the characters. Usually there's a scenario or a scene that pops up with a couple characters, and then I start exploring who these people are.
Yeah. I'm usually the person that's got 25 notes on my phone, going, oh, hey, that'll be a great thing to do for an upcoming book. I just need to figure out which one is going to be for. Hang on, I got spilled iced tea all over my desk, you guys.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch of free write stuff in folders for potential book series like crazy, but this fantasy is going to take up most of that right now, though I am signed up for one of the Lyons Den book.
Oh, fun.
I have to finish it next month, so it'll be coming out next spring. And that one's going to be potentially called Confessions of a Lion Scoundrel.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm anxious to hear what you think about writing in the Lyons Den world, because I always think it's fun to see what everybody else's take is on it. Like how different everybody can be with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's interesting that you said that you get the characters first. I love the idea of having almost archetypal characters and then figuring out how to fit them into a world, because you have people who are they would be who they were, whether they were in a paranormal world or in a more mundane world. And the idea of getting to explore who they are within this created world that you made. I think that's
and you're such a world builder. And I think this is really underestimated by a lot of authors. Like, okay, it's not plotting, but your world is so defined and so detailed. And so you're able to move through it in a way that I would not be able. That's why I have to plot, because I don't really world build in that same way. My brain thinks in plots, not in worlds. And so you don't have to plot because you're just moving through a really defined world that you know really well. That's totally different. And I'm so envious. Like, I would love to be able to do that.
Like, as a reader, I love being able to immerse myself into something that somebody else has created. That's, I love
that was a weird thing for fantasy for me, is it just exploded out of me. I'd been
then you're meant to do it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it was crazy. So this seems to be my thing. Fantasy.
Well, cool. Well, we have lots of other houses to go through. So
yes.
So we'll do this. So I was telling Amy before we came on that I was really excited about her book coming out, because I'm rereading Discovery of Witches now, because I love reading Halloween-y stuff at Halloween. I like reading it all the time, but I particularly love it once the pumpkins come out. And Sandra, I know that you are a huge fall person and decorating for fall kind of thing. So I wondered, aside from the obligatory pumpkin spice, is there anything that you guys really particularly love about this time of year? Anything that, like, traditions or things that you get about?
I just like the colors, I just like the colors, and I like it when summer finally dies and you can actually breathe without or going to the mailbox and having your skin, seared off because of the sun. I just
right.
I'm what?
You're in the South, aren't you?
No, I'm in Indiana, but it's been really hot this year.
Oh, why? I think Disney that made me think you were in the
I'm
South.
in the South.
I mean, we did take a trip to Disney in June, and it was just so ungodly hot that we didn't do much of anything. I mean, there's just it's just, you get to a point where you're just so hot, and I think your body just ceases to function. It's just like, we're done. We're done. We're just gonna get water. We're done. At that point, we're just gonna wait for fall.
But so it's the colors for you and the
colors, and I like there's a specific smell in the air in fall, and it's I can't explain it. It smells like leaves. It smells like wood burning fires. It smells like coolness. There's a specific smell in the air, and when you smell that, it's actually fall finally. Yeah.
What about you, Amy?
What do I like about fall? The cool weather. It's nice to take a break. I am in the South, so I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, I'm in
And,
Virginia,
yeah.
so you're a little bit further south from me.
Yeah. So having the break from the heat but I don't know. I just like all the seasons. I'm always ready for the change. I
Yeah.
just like change. I'm always ready for the next thing. Like when winter's done, I'm ready for spring, and then I'm ready for summer because I'm ready to be out on the water. And
Yeah. And that's
and I like
the
going
thing too, like
mountains.
getting excited about it, that anticipating,
Yeah.
like here it's gonna be different now. Yeah.
I hate fall.
Okay.
Okay, so what you have to remember, dear viewers, is that, as you can tell from my delightful accent, I am British. So I had just started to get hot, warm weather, and now it's gone. Okay, I had just started to be like, I can go outside without a jacket, and now it's like, no, you can't.
Well, how about you can come here and I'll go there because I like your weather the best of all, and I hate the summertime.
This is the thing, like I'm the classic Brit. I love to complain about the weather. Whatever weather I have, I'm complaining about it. But I particularly hate autumn, and I'm going to call it autumn because that's what I call it. Oh, sounds funky. I don't like autumn because that's the definite, like, no, there's no more chances for good weather. That's it. You're done. And so I spend most of autumn complaining about the weather. And then about bonfire night for me is when I start getting excited about Christmas. So that like October for me is a very awkward month where I'm like, oh, I don't have summer and Christmas is so far away. And then bonfire night happens. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. It's crisp and it's bright and I got my scarf and my woolly hat. Like that I can get into. It's that weird in-betweeny stage that I'm not.
So we can't even lure you with an apple dumpling or anything like that. No cider, no.
I mean, I live in the West Country of England. There's cider all year round. That's not an autumn thing. Like every 5 fields, there's a different cider farm. Like that's not new and exciting.
My husband is from England, so
Yeah.
whenever we go over there, which is a lot because his family's over there, the weather's great, and I'm like, you guys are making that up about that weather. You just don't want the tourists to come over. Because I come over and it's nice.
So this is my theory on why the British complain about the weather. This is my theory. It is not scientific. It is just based on over 30 years of living here. The reason we complain about the weather is because it's so changeable and you can't make plans. So my understanding of most of America is that if the weather forecast says sunny, it will be sunny that day. And if it says
unless
rain,
you live in Indiana, huh?
but in England, I wear factor 50 all year round because I burnt in February. I have a raincoat on me all year round.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what we do here, but yeah.
But within 20 minutes, I can walk to my local store in 20 minutes, and I have been hailed on, and then got a sunburnt nose the same day. And I'm like, I can't keep up.
Well, see, my husband's from Trinidad, so it was just like hot every day in Trinidad. It's like Caribbean weather, that's the end. Sunny, that's it. That's all you got until the rainy season. So he comes here. 20 years ago, we got married. So he came here, and it was like a mild winter at the time. It was like 50 degrees when he got off the plane. And he's like, oh, this is great. Is this as cold as it gets?
How funny.
And I'm like, no, it's not. It gets below 0.
Okay, I'm just transferring that to 10 degrees Celsius. British listeners. I just have to work that out.
Yeah, so he does still, I mean, after 20, 21 years, he still doesn't do well with the really cold weather of winter, but he loves the snow. So he's like, cause he's from the Caribbean and they don't have snow. So every time it snows, he's like this 52-year-old man all of a sudden turns into this 10-year-old little boy. It's snowing. He's out there, in it.
I get that way when it snows too, because being in South Carolina.
And I'm like, have fun with that because I'll just stay in. Thank you. Oh, gosh.
Well, ladies, we could go on all day. And if anytime you want to do that, you must just let me know and we will set it up. It was lovely to talk with you. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'll make sure I pop the links to all of your books in the comments, along with Alexandra's book and also the Halloween anthology. So if you haven't gotten them, you can grab them right away. Here's the used cars mean sales pitch. Dragonblade books are the best deal because they are the best deal, pre-order and release. because they're 99 cents. Come on, man. I mean, the best deal pre-order and release. And if you don't happen to grab them on time, you can always read them in Kindle Unlimited, which means you can read without even having to. There's no barrier to entry. You just
No barrier.
no barrier to entry. Just pick what you want to
Stay
get.
safe from going broke.
Yeah.
You can read, and then you can go on to the next one, and then you can go on to the next one, and then you can go on to the next one. And if there are 18 witches in this thing, you can read all 18. And 12 dukes and all.
And then you can just kiss your productivity goodbye, you know.
Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
No problem.